This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity Podcast. Today's discussion is Simplify to Excel, 5 quick examples. So bear with me on this. One of the things that we constantly look at in business, in private equity funds and their sponsored companies, particularly when they're on and have great leadership, are so good at clarifying, here's our core objectives. Don't be going after 30 different things. Go after 3 of them. And in different businesses, it's different, but this is some of the concepts. So in one business, it might be very clear that the business is going fine, but the 2 things we have to do are retain current clients and add new clients. Everything else is pretty good. And there might be some other room. You're always going to be improving teams. You're always going to try and be improving people. But they have great clarity around, here's our 2 top goals. Another business, your core goal, we particularly view this as a startup software company. I've had the chance to run advisory boards for several software companies and advise different software companies. And there's 2 things that are so critical, that you do an incredible job of product development and software engineering, software development. And second, that you start figuring out commercialization early and really focusing on those 2 things, understanding that the product's always going to be improvement. But if you don't start commercializing early, people end up building beautiful things that are never used. So you've got to constantly have those 2 things going on, commercialize and software development side by side, and with constant communication back and forth to make sure you're building stuff that's great, that's going to be constantly improved, that the market actually wants. A third concept that we look at again, and we talked about this recently with somebody, in running a huge team, the advice that somebody once got from their team or their company CEO was, look, if you make sure finance and HR are in good shape, finance and HR, you know your numbers really well, you got a great finance team, and you've got a great talent team, and you're building out your talent team, those 2 things, you're going to be in good shape. And I think for many CEOs, lose sight of the game that, yes, you got to take care of customers. Yes, you have to make sure the business is growing. But just as important is making sure that you're taking care of people and you understand your numbers and they don't get sideways on you. So whatever business you're in, it's trying to understand what are the 3 to 4 key things, 2 to 4 key things that are really the focus. How can I simplify and focus on, I need these 2 things. I got to retain customers and add customers. I've got to keep our costs under control. Whatever those core things are, knowing what they are and constantly coming back to simplify those, so important. I think the same is true in golf. If I could figure out how to hit my driver, putter, my wedges, and my 7-iron well, if I could work on those 4 things, I could play a competent game of golf, particularly if I play relatively intelligently on the course and don't start reaching for clubs that I can't hit very well. By simplifying, here's the 4 things that I have to do: driver, putter, wedges, 7-iron. Then I can play a competent game of golf. I'm not going to score phenomenally well, but I'm going to play very competently if I keep it simple and keep on moving to simplify. The same thing with life. If we're working on, here are the 3 cores of life. We've got health and fitness, I got one's children and family, and I got whatever one's business interests are. And to keep things relatively simple around, here are the cores that we're focused on. I think these are some of the keys to business success, they're the keys to life, they're the keys to so many things. They're certainly the keys to my golf game being at least competent, not great. It's never going to be great, but competent. I think so many people can really thrive by trying to constantly come back to this concept of what are the 2 to 3 things I have to focus on, have to do well, and then a lot of other things tend to fall in place if you're able to do that. So thank you for listening to this version of the Becker Private Equity Podcast. If you listen this all the way through, and you're the first person to text Scott Becker at 773-766-5322, we will send you a $100 Amazon gift certificate, but you have to add in the text message, simplify to Excel. Again, the phone number, 773-766-5322. Thank you so much to our producer today, Chanel Bunger. Thank you very much. And thank you for listening to this podcast, Simplify to Excel. Thank you.